Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Lindsay, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell the audience, just introduce yourself, who you are, and a little bit about you?
Totally. I am Lindsay Johnson, founder and CEO of FitPros. We are a workplace well-being service provider. And what that means is that we bring the gamut of well-being services to employers who then pay for it for their employees. So we do that virtually, on-site, and on demand.
That is a really cool business concept. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with this? Not your personal story, but how you came up with this approach. And I do want to get into your personal story because I read a little bit about it. I think it's great. But how you came up, because there's a lot of gym owners out there that are doing different things and trying different aspects. And you really honed in on this events for corporate America. Can you tell us, like, how did you come up with that concept and where are the roots of that besides the personal journey? And I assume there are different stories slightly.
They're kind of intertwined, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
So I did work in the corporate world for over a decade and I was burnt out. I hit a wall. And in 2013, I realized that I had to get out of that space, and I was overweight. I was unhealthy, in a terrible mental place. So I went on a yoga retreat. I went on a recovery yoga retreat. I stopped drinking, and I woke up out of this meditation, and I was like, that's it. I'm done with the corporate world, and I'm going to become a yoga teacher, and a personal trainer, and a health coach. And I did all of those things. So you can tell that's my personality to just go and do it. So skipping ahead, I did that for about 2 years. And then I had a death in the family. And so when that happened, I just hit a wall, and I was like, I got to figure my stuff out again. And I went backpacking through Asia. And while there, I thought, mixing my experience of being so sad and unhealthy in the workplace, combined with this new spin on life, because I so healthy. I was the thinnest, I was fit. I actually competed in 2 fitness competitions. I was mentally well. I at that time was sober for about 3 years, and wrote a business plan. So that was fall of 2015.
Okay, so you left corporate America to be a yoga instructor. And I'm pretty familiar with the brick and mortar fitness industry, and I know that yoga instructors, it's not a highly paid position generally, right? Unfortunately, in America, health and wellness is one of the least valued things to the American people, or at least it feels that way. They put a higher value on a $1 McMuffin than they do on a $100 a month gym membership that they will actually use because they get the right kind of environment for them. So, that had to be wildly challenging to leave corporate America. Do you have a significant other that went through this journey with you? So you're just all on your own. No children.
No children.
So that makes things. So not having a significant other, taking a downgrade position, or a financially downgraded position, mentally upgraded, financially downgraded position. Not having a significant other made that probably maybe easier.
I don't know if I would say easier, because I was holding my own, and I lived in San Francisco, which was not cheap. So
yeah, that would be challenging for sure.
It was. I had to get creative. I worked my tail off. I had savings. I had a high caliber job. I made a lot of money when I worked in corporate, and so I did save up. But I knew I had to get out of that space and do what was better for me. And so becoming a yoga teacher, and I started teaching at corporations, and I just saw other people benefiting from the new things that I found helpful and healthy.
Right. Yoga is such an interesting practice to me. And I don't practice yoga very much. I have Yoga Jen that comes to my gym and teaches us yoga occasionally. And I'll have to say, the only exercise in my life besides running that I wanted to quit was hot yoga. It's just not for me. And I love the heat. I love spending time in the desert, but the hot yoga was damn intense.
It is intense.
I made it through. I made it through the whole hour, but it was definitely one of the more challenging mental things that I had to get myself through in my life.
Good for you.
But I do enjoy the story, and I would probably do it again at some point. But you went through a transformation. I've been through a couple transformations in my life, but you lost 45 pounds. You look great today. Was that at corporate America or before you made this change, right? You had already dropped the 45 pounds.
No.
No.
I was overweight. When I was in corporate America, when I left, I got fit and healthy physically. So it was, yeah.
But you were already working on the mindset that yoga brings.
Yeah, well, when I was in corporate America, not really. I mean, yoga was new to me. I went on this retreat, and I was like, "What is a down dog? What?" So I had no idea, but I knew the experience. I knew what I was feeling when I was in that class, and it was this higher level of there's something bigger than me, and I needed to go after that. I needed to go after this feeling that feels good, and being in the corporate world was not it. So I went to India and I did my yoga teacher training over there. I spent about 6 weeks in India and just eat, pray, loved it. I was deep in it.
That is really cool. I do a lot of meditate daily. And so you had this waking up from meditation session.
Yep.
This epiphany that this is just what I have to do.
Yeah, good for you. That's amazing that you do that. And if you're familiar, it's Kundalini yoga is what I'm not
familiar with that.
So it's highly spiritual. It's very, very spiritual in that, whatever that is for you, it's you even if it's yourself, that can find a better you. It really opened me up, and that practice. Just the things I learned from that and the teachers I followed are just phenomenal. I mean, it's meditating in general. I think it just gives you that calm and that presence with yourself. It's so critical.
Okay. So in my head, you're in corporate America, you feel stuck, you find this new practice, fall in love with it. And instead of doing this on the side hustle, you go all in.
Go all in, yeah.
Quit corporate America.
Yeah. In addition to that, I became a personal trainer. So I was teaching at gyms like 24 Hour Fitness and then Equinox, and got my health coaching certification. So I was training women for nutrition too, and I just jumped right in because it's my personality. It's just just to go deep.
Absolutely, so was that the catalyst that says, hey, people are stuck in corporate America and they're not happy, they're not healthy, and you want to bring that to them?
That was the initial catalyst. Yes, that was the initial catalyst. And then I think when my brother passed away 2+ years later, I realized that it's more than just nutrition and exercise. It's our total well-being. And so what really dawned on me then was mental health, and how can we bring grief speakers into corporations and help people who are struggling with loss, or so that component of it came in as well. And then of course, as you alluded to earlier, finances. Like I didn't have a lot of money living in San Francisco, and it was not easy.
Right.
So light bulbs, like, people, we are holistic. We are not just one thing. And so for corporations to design a program that meets the needs of many is really where FitPros, that was the foundation of why we do all the things that we do. Right.
That is such a cool concept. So you have, I went through the website a little bit, not really in depth, but you have different kinds of speakers that will come and different kinds of events that you can go, that any company in America can purchase, and you'll send a team out and do. What are some of the things that you guys do at FitPros?
Yeah, and I'll throw in not even just America. We have boots on the ground in 26 countries. So
Oh, wow.
we're
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you.
That's a big network.
It's amazing. I mean, I just feel, I think because we draw in people that are as passionate as our team in headquarters, that everybody wants to spread good and teach what they know. And so we really created an awesome roster of teachers and speakers around the world. And then to answer your question, yeah, we have speakers that talk on the gamut of areas like nutrition and parenting and mental health and diversity, equity, inclusion. So speakers in all of those areas. We also have exercise classes, your yoga, boot camp, boxing. So we have teachers in that realm. And then our third primary area is social engagement. So we do trivia, we do cooking classes, self-defense workshops, you name it.
Awesome. And this is all out of your brain.
My brain and I think that what helps is having many smart people around you. And so I definitely love building that network of smart people. And so I can't take all the credit. I learn from others and put my spin on it, but I certainly wasn't the originator of all of these things. I just try to facilitate it and pull it together and put it in front of people.
Right. All right. So say there's someone out there in the world today and they're waking up out of a meditation session and like, man, I hate my job. I got to do something else, right? Yeah. I'm just done. Is there some advice that you wish somebody would have given you before you pulled that trigger to maybe get your ducks in a row, maybe a little bit better, or maybe wait a little bit? Or is it literally, jump and your net will appear?
I think circumstances are different for everyone. I think that although I never had I came from a very poor upbringing, and so I've just always been very financially thrifty, I guess, and so I think it did help having that cushion for myself, and so I would say probably have some source of living here in America.
Right.
Something I wish.
But today you can just jump on Uber, right? Like finding work to get the bare necessities today is not a challenge anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That was a huge challenge 20 years ago when I was getting started. Right. I had the internet, but it was not very good, and I had a Yellow Pages, and that's how I got started. So today they have all kinds of different options and opportunities that they can execute on, and side hustles that you can just. I mean, a person in their 20s, a person at any age today, could have 5 or 10 different side hustles that they jump around to, right?
Totally.
DoorDash, Uber, TaskRabbit, all those different things that they could hop around to. So today there's never been a better time to take that chance.
You're right. Yeah. So again, to answer your question, I mean, I think just listen to yourself. I think when you're in that meditation, you got to say, just don't be afraid, just do it. And what's the worst? What's the worst that's going to happen? And experiencing that, I also have to, in my mind, what helps is saying, if I'm not here next week, did I do all I could have done to put myself out there? Because then it won't matter after that. Did I help people? Did I, On
that story, and I'll tell you a little bit about me here. Yeah. I have recently realized, I also own a boxing school.
Oh, awesome.
And I have, just over 350 students of all ages, 8 to 80. And I've just really started realizing that I am going to be part of people's stories later in life. Some of these kids that I train, like that realization, oh shit, I'm going to be part of their story.
Yeah.
What do I want them saying in 20 years?
Yeah.
Right? Do I want them to say, oh, he was this, scared guy that was afraid to take chances and, built it slowly over years? Or no, he knew what he wanted and he went for it. And I think that's an important thing to ask. If people are going to tell stories about you later, what story do you want them to tell? Right? He worked in corporate America for 30 years and died.
Right.
Maybe that's somebody wants that story. Not the story I want told about me later in life or when I'm gone, right? So
totally.
I think
awesome.
that's a fun thing of the way that I think about,
You're so
what
right.
keeps me going.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, I definitely tell people, stories of like growing up playing sports or dancing or what, and I actually remember my teachers and stuff. So good for
Yeah.
you. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big realization to have, and it's one
Yeah.
that I have to meditate on. And on that, how important do you think meditation is if you're running a business?
I think having some sort of practice is critical. So, I mean, I even find, a hard workout on my Peloton bike can be meditative because I get into this zone and I'm in a different space and I'm like, go get it, girl, And so
Right.
like that could also be some sort of meditative, but, and I want to say, like, I think some people are so afraid of meditating because they say they don't do it right, and there's no right way. It's like whatever. If you have that voice coming in your head, acknowledge it and say, okay, cool. My mind wants me to think about that right now, but I'll put it aside, or just try.
Yeah, when I first started meditating, and I'll throw the link in the bottom here, I bought a device called a Muse, and it's a headband that I put on. I also hired somebody to help me figure this all out, and also hypnotist and all that stuff. So I went pretty deep into the whole thing. I don't use the Muse anymore. I've gotten pretty, sometimes too good at meditating. I can get my heart rate pretty low,
That's so cool.
which gets a little scary. But I don't know that today I could be the manager, leader, boss, all three of those things that I am without having meditation in my life. Right? It's a pretty significant piece of my life and my, I'm a pretty aggressive man on a daily basis, and meditation helps me take that edge off and be mindful, and it's helped me a ton. So I love that your story, starting your business, comes from a meditation session.
Completely. Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
And I definitely find the days that I don't meditate, I'm on edge, right? Like chalkboard, nails on a chalkboard. And I say something to an employee and I'm just like, why? Because I didn't take that time for myself today.
Yeah. And for the folks listening, meditation can be, I have practices that are 3 to 5 minutes long in the morning, right before bed, and my hour, I do an hour before bed, but, which is tedious, and sometimes you don't want to do it, but it is very, very helpful. But yeah, so it doesn't have to be long. It can be literally a 5-minute, just clear your mind, be conscious of your body, be conscious of yourself, and move forward. I think it's really, really important. And it helps you think about what your day's gonna be about sometimes. Right? Clearing your mind. Well, you never know what's gonna come into your head if it's clear.
It's so true. And I think it's neat to hear you say this because a lot of times in the corporate world, we hear, our male population won't want to do the meditation. If you frame it in a way that is cool or whatever, like Steve Jobs, like Mark Benioff, like all the very wealthy and brilliant people do this. They are open about doing that. So how is that not a gender? How is that a gender specific thing? I think it's how we can frame it.
And I'll tell you, when I first started doing it, I described it to my wife as, I'm going to try this hippy dippy stuff. I don't know if it really works, but it's the hippy dippy stuff, right? And I gave it a fair shake, right? I went into it with an open mind and said, okay, I want to try this. I've read that a lot of, manifestation and laws of attraction and all that stuff, and I talked to other entrepreneurs and business owners, and one of all their underlining statements was, you have to have the right mindset to do this kind of work. And as an entrepreneur business owner, and I don't know how to tell the difference between which is which, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, I think they're all the same. What kind of mindset does a person have to have? Because I came up from a meager upbringing as well. My mom was homeless before she, like literally the week before she had me. So I come from very meager upbringings as well. And I account a lot of what I've done as my adversities that I've overcome as a child, that I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And you had to deal with a whole lot of that too, but you weren't comfortable being uncomfortable. or at least uncomfortable as you were in corporate America. So
Yeah.
can you tell us the story about leaving corporate America? What was that like, living in San Diego, trying to hustle to get the cash? You know, what were some of the like giant challenges that you had to overcome, and what were some of the tricks that you used to overcome them?
Totally. You know, I think one of the things you just said was kind of the underlying of all of it. Like growing up the way I did, I kind of wanted to hide who I was. I was always afraid that people would find out these things about me, or, you know, and so I was always keeping things inside. And having that meditation experience helped me realize that's me, that's my truth, and that's okay. I'm proud of who I am, and because those experiences have led me here. And so I kind of forgot your question, but
just you know, like outside of there, do you have, you know, you left corporate America at the time you were overweight.
Yeah.
Cards are stacked against you, right?
Yeah.
Was there particular something that happened to you that was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to overcome this? And how did you overcome that particular obstacle?
Truly, so I was just drinking a lot then. You know, because I was in advertising at the time, and I had always entertaining clients, and so it was free alcohol all the time, and all the time, and traveling, and so I realized that alcohol helped me hide those insecurities and all the things that were in my past. And so I you know, the crux of it was I knew I had to stop drinking. So September 2013, I said, that's it. And so that's when I signed up for this recovery yoga meditation retreat. And 3 months later, I was there. And the person I was seeing at the time said, you know, put up a mirror. And he's like, if you don't realize that you have a problem with alcohol, I can't be in your life. You got to figure yourself out. And so I had to go on this journey on my own and realize that alcohol was a big thing that was holding me back, you know, from doing the things I needed to do.
That hits pretty close to home for me.
Yeah.
Right? I had fatty liver disease 7 years ago, full recovery, alcohol induced, insurance dropped me, the whole thing. It was pretty rough. You know, the doctor said, I'll give you two choices. You can go home and die and keep drinking and die, or we can start getting off the alcohol. You know, I'm still not a stellar student in sobriety. I am much better than I was in the past by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But it is challenging. And in corporate America, and I don't know how to change this, but the narrative needs to change for sales reps drastically inside corporate America. Yeah. It's almost at a cocktail party or an after-hour, happy hour, whatever, networking event.
Yeah.
I find that I almost feels like I'm being like ostracized for not drinking, or it's uncomfortable to be at those events and not have a beer in your hand or something. And you can get by with it in the duels and stuff like that just to not feel as awkward. But did you find the same kind of pressure when...
Yeah, in early sobriety for sure, because I didn't know how to be comfortable not drinking. I didn't realize at the time that either people they truly didn't care and it was just in my head, or the people that, like, I do have some friends that kind of get on me about like, oh, just have one. It's because they're uncomfortable. It's because they're drinking and they're like, well, why am I drinking alone? So I shouldn't have to worry about them either. Like, that's their thing.
Right. Absolutely. It's tough. It's a very tough game. And you would think, you know, I'm a pretty stand-up guy. Nobody really messes with me at all. But you know, at 40 years old, I was uncomfortable going to a sales meeting and not having a beer. And I felt like I had to explain myself on why I wasn't drinking. And, you know, like, gotta be so easy if I was just pregnant. I could just say I can't drink today. Right. But it's almost like you have to admit this crazy failure that you have had in your life that, hey, I can't drink because it's not healthy for me. It's not the right thing for me to do. And it's bizarre to me that the client doesn't see, hey, this is an asset that I have. This person's going to be sober working on my stuff for me, right?
Exactly.
So it's such a weird double standard and bad thing for our country as a whole and for business people, because happy hours to me always turned into all-nighters, pretty much.
Completely. I do think I want to believe, and maybe it's just the people I'm surrounding myself with, but I do think that's shifting. I do think that more people are being open about not drinking. And so I think that it's starting to spread. So yeah, I like, I like the way that the area that it's going. You don't have to be an AA if that's not your jam, that's fine. But maybe surround yourself around other people, or follow them on Instagram that are like sober, no drinking things. And it gets more comfortable when you're around people that don't do it.
And just so the audience knows, if anybody out there is struggling with alcohol in business or wherever, and you don't like AA because it's highly religious, I go to Smart Recovery and I love it. It is not as, doesn't feel as judgmental. There's no religious aspect to it. It's just the psychology behind what you're doing. And there's no abstinence rules inside of the Smart Recovery, right? Because to me, you were able to quit completely, but if anybody told me you're never allowed to do that again, I'm going off the deep end with it. Like, who are you to tell me what I can do? Right?
Sure.
Then I'm gonna go right off the deep end. So I found a lot of support through the Smart Recovery program, and
awesome.
But you had a yoga retreat that really ticked off for you, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that story, what that retreat was like? And
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you said you came out of a meditation session, like, this is it for me, I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? What with that whole event that week? Was it a
Magical.
weekend or a week? Or
It was a week. It was a week long. I mean, this was back in 2013, so I have to go back in my brain. But the teacher, his name is Tommy Rosen. Wow. And he's magical, truly. Like he's like 30 years sober now, and like, it's funny because he's so down to earth. Like he talks about the Grateful Dead, and he's just like so into it. But he found his path in yoga and recovery, and in this Kundalini specifically for him, was the way that. I saw a video, I saw a podcast, I think it was, of him and a woman named Gabby Bernstein. And that's what pulled me in. I was like, these people are cool. Like, I want to be like that. I see this magic amongst them and I want that. And so, I followed him to Costa Rica, for that retreat. And then his wife is also phenomenal. Her name is Kia Miller, and she is also a pretty renowned yoga teacher. And she's the one that I followed to India. So I just, the magic that I found in the two of them helped me get into a space that I just felt empowered. And it really, it convinced me deep in my soul that I could live whatever life I wanted to live.
Yes, and the choice is yours.
Completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
Today, I talked to a lot of not a whole lot of young people, but a decent amount in their 20s, 20 to 30. And some of them are like, I can do anything. The world's my oyster. I can crack it as much as I want, and it's unlimited resources and all that stuff. But more of them, I find, feel like they have to go do the job that they're doing for some reason. And I ask them, I was like, well, the boss can't make you come in. Like, if I'm the manager, I can't make you come in. You can make me come in by not showing up, but I can't make you come in. This is your choice to work at this business. And I think that's the case for all businesses. The employees choose to work there. They have the power. And I think more of them need to know that. They have the power, right? And now more than ever, the companies need the staff, the people to be there. So they can, if they don't like it today, I mean, you have a choice. If you don't want to go out and start your own company, you can talk to your manager like, hey man, I need a different set of rules here than what you guys established 20 years ago. It's a different planet than it was 20 years ago, right?
Completely.
So I see managers and leaders and bosses making that shift pretty regularly to be more accommodating to their staff. And it's not, this 40-hour work week, you come to the office, you check in, you clock out for your lunch kind of stuff. And I really appreciate that a lot because, those kinds of mindsets are why I could never work for anybody else, right? That whole, you're mine between 9 and 5 and no fun and games between that time. So
couldn't do that. I remember I remember working for this advertising agency, and I had this mean boss in the office by me. Like, she could intentionally see me. And if I left my desk, even at my lunch hour or 30 minutes, and I went for a walk, and I come back and she's like, it is 31 minutes. And, oh, you went for a walk. And why do you care? Like, I'm going to be a better me. But I didn't know that at the time. And, at FitPros, we have a flex policy. So if you need days off, we don't count your days off. If you need to go get a massage in the middle of the day, go do it, because that's going to make you better. Like, if we keep, we track data, we have a CRM that we track everything. So if you're not performing, then but it's on you. Like, you're an adult, take care of you.
Yes, absolutely. And the tools are getting there that you can have the governance over productive employees versus non-productive employees, right? And to me, an employee, as long as they're not being negative to the company, is a value in most cases, right? You can figure something out to make them productive or more productive in what they're doing. So that's something to look forward to as this continues to change. And I think it's going to continue to change. And I hope we don't. I think the worst thing that could happen in America today is that as it gets, right now I think we're slightly in an overcorrection of work from home and all that stuff. I hope it doesn't overcorrect too far back the other way. But hopefully we find a good balance from the Great Resignation, and we can still provide amazing services and let people work how they want to work.
I think they will. I think we're going in that direction. We have so many clients we work with around the world that are doing the hybrid thing and not mandating return to work. Some are, and especially, and you got to think of, there's so many companies that have manufacturing people that have been on site the whole time. So I do think that companies are wising up to understand they have to offer benefits and well-being benefits to employees, no matter what position they're in. And if they're in a corporate position where they sit behind a desk all day, what's the point of going into an office and doing a Zoom call in an office and wasting your money in gas that's so expensive these days? So
yes,
I think companies are wising.
Well, and I think the concept of here's our benefit package for 200 employees is ridiculous. 200 employees, there's going to be 70 different values within those 200 employees of what each one of them really values over something else, right? Some of these kids today just want flexible schedules. They don't want to have to do, be this more rigid schedule for health conditions or, whatever it is, whatever they're navigating in their life, right? So if you can accommodate those things, some jobs can't accommodate them, right? They just can't accommodate that. But if they can, they should, right? And the jobs that can't, you'll find people that like doing that kind of work, right? I can't work from home. It's not possible for me to do. I completely shut off and I go into, my home is it's my relaxed time. I'm there, I'm there for 8 hours a day, and that's my time to relax. So my brain just knows home is, play with the kids and relax. So
that's great.
It's not a good environment for me to work from, so I don't.
That's fantastic. That's great that you know that. And there's so many people, I think, my husband's similar. He would rather work from a WeWork. His company is fully remote now, and he would rather work from a WeWork than at home, just because he likes the noise around him and being able to converse with people. And whereas I'm like, nope, I like to get my stuff done and be in my home desk. So everybody works differently.
Yeah, I really like opportunities. And seizing opportunities that they come along. So that's why I like to be out in the world, right? And I just find very little opportunity in my living room other than Netflix and tickle my son.
It's like dating, right? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you sit on your couch, you're never going to meet that Mr. or Mrs. Right person.
Right. So FitPro does corporate mindset, fitness, wellness packages. Who is your ideal client? Is it a company 10 employees and up or 50? Like, where's that sweet spot for FitPro?
Great question. Our sweet spot is usually 100 to 200 employee minimum, up to about 2,000 to 5,000. It's a big range, but anything less than 100, they're smaller.
The economics don't make sense.
They just don't, yeah, they just don't have budgets for it. And then anything over a couple thousand, they typically have on staff, like your Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, they actually have on staff nutritionists and personal trainers and like on as employees. And so they don't typically need services as ours as much. Occasionally we've worked with Twitter and we brought self-defense workshops and we brought, a couple occasional speakers and things like that. But your bigger companies, not as much.
Okay, fantastic. Because so the over 5,000, they probably have in-house resources. Under 100, the economics probably aren't going to make sense for a service like yours. But under 100, if a company had under 100 employees, what would you recommend them to do for health and wellness kind of stuff?
Completely. There are so many free resources out there. I mean, gyms even, I being a personal trainer myself, and Equinox was a fantastic gym that I had to go through certain levels of training. So there are certain trainers that have nutrition and physical training. So perhaps contact a gym and see if you could get someone there to come in and do it. And it'll probably be very cheap or maybe free. The gym might want to promote their services and, get a little something out of it. You could even go to like your 401k provider or a bank. The bank would try to sell itself a little bit, but they do have reps that'll come in and give you a finance talk as long as they can say, here at Morgan Stanley, we do this.
Right.
So there are definitely free things out there. Lots of even at FitPros, we put out free like guidebooks and stuff for any corporation to pick up on. So just sign up for our newsletter and we give out free resources often. The biggest thing is ask your employees if they have a talent. So do like a brown bag once a month, Wellness Wednesday or Fitness Friday, and have an employee do something that they're good at and share it. So like those are some really
so show and tell.
Show and tell.
Okay. Yeah. That's fantastic. All great stuff. And if a company wanted to work with you, how would they get in contact with you?
Yeah. Visit fitpros.com, FITPROS.com, or email hello@fitpros.com, or find me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Lindsay, thank you for your time today. I had a blast talking with you and learning a little bit about your history and your company. I wish you guys all, when 2013 were you founded, or when was FitPros founded? 2016. Yep. So you made the big change in 13 and then founded FitPros in 16. A little bit ahead of its time for the kind of stuff that you're doing, and I'm sure you found great success inside of the pandemic, or post-pandemic as people are coming back. I mean, you were positioned at the right spot at the right time for sure post-pandemic. So thank you so much for the services that you're offering. I think it's very, very important stuff for businesses to have. If your employees are unhealthy, they're going to be giving out poor performance, like just across the board, right? And if management's unhealthy, then they're probably making bad decisions in the moment, and or short-sighted decisions, all kinds of stuff. It's so important. I mean, you only get the one body. You got to take care of it, and unfortunately, we don't know that when we're young, so we kind of beat it up a little bit. So,
as we talked about.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for all your time and everything you do for the world, Lindsay. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken. This was great. Congratulations to you and everything that you've accomplished.
Thank you so much. Is there any words of wisdom, tips, or tricks you'd like to leave the audience before we go?
I don't think there's anything more. I think just listen to your heart, and anybody feel free to reach out to me just on a personal level too, whether it's changing career paths or stopping to drink or anything that I can be helpful for. Feel free to send me a note on LinkedIn, or you can email hello@fitpros.com and I'll get it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ken. Take care.
Awesome. Take care.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.